Good afternoon, Houston. I'm KHOU meteorologist Kim Castro. We are keeping a close eye on a big system that is pushing closer and closer to our viewing area, already prompting some spots to be on alert for the potential of some tornadoes. We've got all of our 5 KHOU meteorologists working for you today. We'll be giving you updates here on the web, on social media, and live on TV. So let me give you the latest of what we're looking at right now and what we are anticipating over the next few hours. So earlier this morning, the National Weather Service did issue a tornado watch for our far northern counties. This includes Walker, Grimes, and Washington counties. Now, this is in effect until 6 o'clock tonight. There is the potential to see some rotation with these storms, and we've already seen that potential come to fruition to our north, and we'll talk about that in a second. Check out Future Track for what we can expect for us locally. This is the latest model run, so we're seeing these showers and this band of thunderstorms grazing College Station, Huntsville, and Livingston this late afternoon. That's a snapshot of 4:30. You can see the pockets of the heavier red. We are expecting some areas to dump down upwards of 3 inches of rain. Most spots looking to get 1 to 2 inches, but a couple of localized areas could certainly get 3 to maybe even 4 inches of rain. So we'll be watching for some high water spots, some quick rise and quick fall with these rainfall rates as these storms are looking to pass through rather quickly. All right, we'll keep fast forwarding through time for you there. If you are in Columbus, if you are in Tomball, you should definitely start to see this line fire off. Some strong storms approaching Sugar Land there by 6:30. We could see that band stretch all the way into Cleveland and Livingston, and then finally making its push closer and closer towards the city center. Bush, Beltway, the Loop. You're looking to feel the rumbles of the thunder, the flashes of lightning, definitely the potential for some small hail with some of these embedded thunderstorms, which could pick up steam as they pass through our very primed and ready atmosphere, which has been warm and humid for days on end and will continue to be that way as we progress through the 7-day forecast. I'll talk about that in a little bit. 8 o'clock there tonight, we could see those storms in Sugar Land and in Bush, getting closer to Pearland as we get towards the 9 o'clock hour. After that, they'll really start to make a run for the coast and linger there until about midnight. So there you have 10 o'clock. We can see some pieces of energy trailing behind the main front. We can see that in Columbus and in Sugar Land, El Campo. You're starting to see the main band of the storms passing through you. Pasadena, Crystal Beach, the island. You'll see the impacts on the storm later tonight. So 10 to 11 o'clock is when you'll see those storms barreling through you and then finally pushing offshore by midnight and winding things down overnight and ramping the heat up for the end of the week and into the weekend. We are under the threat to see some strong to severe storms. This outlook has not changed from this morning, so if you've been watching us throughout the day, this still stands. There is a very small margin for Grimes as well as part of Walker and a little smidge of San Jacinto counties that are under a level 3 on the 1 to 5 scale for some severe threats. Now, those spots we'll be watching very closely for the heightened risk of an isolated tornado. Most other spots, your risk will be confined to some strong wind and some small hail, but we'll be watching as these storms get closer to see if they start to turn a little bit and do foster the potential for some rotation. Timeline, like we talked about, our far northern counties will see the push of this band of storms first, traveling from northwest to southeast. So 3 to 7 o'clock, I'm going to keep that time frame for when we could start to see those storms bubble up in our area. There will be some overlap between our northern and southern counties, but definitely a sweeping motion of storms. So once they pass through, you will certainly feel it. Strong, heavy rainfall at times, but they'll clear out rather quickly. So they aren't looking to stall out for now, which is why the flood potential remains on the lower end for right now. Localized street flooding, though, that is certainly something to watch for. Some high water spots we'll be watching for as well. But the biggest threat is going to be that big push of wind and the small hail with these thunderstorm cells. And again, the isolated tornado, especially for our northern counties, which are under that marginal, that little sliver of a level 3, which is an enhanced risk. This yellow is a slight risk. and then the green here is a marginal risk. So the lowest risk to see those strong to severe storms, but the risk is still there. So once they pass through our northern counties, we'll start to see the city center get the potential for those stronger storms. 6 to 9 o'clock still stands for that time frame, and then they'll start to make their push towards the coast. Should linger there until about midnight. So the stronger storms wrapping up by 11, but some remnant showers definitely possible through the midnight hour. Here's what we're looking at on radar, taking our eyes to the north where there is a tornado warning. There have been several severe thunderstorm warnings, and there's still a watch for some flood potential, with rainfall rates definitely picking up quite a bit of steam. So Panola County right now under a tornado warning, people affected under 1,000, but the rotation is definitely picking up in some of these thunderstorm cells, which is why radar indicated tornado warnings have popped up. Nothing confirmed on the ground from last I checked, but we'll be watching that couplet to see if it continues to rotate and for how long and its track here over the next few minutes. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect, including just about 20,000 people there. And these lightning strikes have been impressive over the last couple of hours. Just under 300 for right now, but there have been upwards of 1,000 throughout the day, and that's just for the last 10 minutes. So a lot of energy with these cells coming down. And rainfall rates have been impressive as well. So between 1, 2, 3, 4, upwards of 5 inches of rain in some spots. Those areas in red there getting closer to that 6 mark. So some very isolated, localized spots to our north getting quite a bit of rain. I'm watching the conditions to the north to see the potential for us to see some heavier rain and some hail. Now, once this line of storms gets towards us, it's definitely going to back off the gas a little bit and lose its steam, but we still want to watch what's happening to the north just to get primed and ready for what could happen here. I'm really thinking rain and the wind is going to be something that we'll be watching for. Hail over the last 2 hours to the north of us. Again, anything between pea-sized to quarter-sized hail. So some sizable hail signatures there being picked up on radar from these cells that have been bubbling up and picking up quite a bit of steam. They are right now just about 100 miles towards the northwest. That's the main line of storms. As you can see, definitely pieces of energy out ahead of it starting to get organized and wanting to inch closer and closer to our viewing area. Severe threat potential for us. Again, strong winds will be the main thing we'll be combating, with some areas feeling some gusts upward of 50 miles an hour. Hail is a potential. Smaller hail is more likely to be seen in our viewing area. We can't rule out the flood potential, especially high water spots is something that we'll be monitoring. But since these are quick hitting, I'm thinking that more significant flooding should stay subdued. And then the isolated tornado, especially for the area that is under a watch right now, our far northern counties, Walker, Grimes, and Washington. We'll be watching for some rotational couplets potentially making their way to our viewing area. Right now, we are just holding tight, holding on to the warmth, holding on to the humidity, and that's going to be the weather story that really sticks with us. So this line of storms is going to be quick hitting, but the heat and the humidity remains, and that's going to bring us some problems all on their own here over the next few days. 88 degrees right now. The dew points are in the low 70s area wide, so a lot of moisture, and that's what's leading to quite a bit of instability. We talked about heat being the big talker. I just want to show you what is ahead. So yes, we have got back-to-back days with potentially record-tying or record-breaking heat. Tomorrow we'll get to contest with that. 93 should keep that record safe. And humidity won't be an impact, will be a factor tomorrow, but look at what it does Saturday, Sunday, Monday. My goodness, it's going to feel like the low triple digits. So just be very careful out there as we work through our days. We just want to make sure we are keeping hydrated and keeping very aware as to what we can expect when it comes to heat-related impacts. You might not realize it, but heat exhaustion sets in quite quickly. Now, I want to get back to that tornado warning that we just saw pop up. Since we've got time to talk about this, let's get in there and see what's going on radar right now with that couplet that has shown some rotation and prompted that tornado warning to pop up to our north. We'll be watching for some areas that show rotation, And what we like to do when we see this sort of setup is get inside the storm to figure out what sort of rotation is being picked up. So why is it that the National Weather Service has highlighted this area? And well, you can see pretty pronounced why they did that. So anytime we have that deadlock between air that is working in opposition, that green in a sea of red, like we've talked about, is when we start to notice that the thunderstorm isn't working in unison. It's not a cohesive structure anymore. It is not rotating all in the same way. The red and the green signals the direction of the wind. So green towards the radar, red away from it. And as you can see, right in the middle of that storm cell, it is doing the complete opposite of what the rest of the storm cell is doing. So that would signal a motion that is a vortex that is at the thunderstorm and potentially reaching down to the ground. So once that vortex spirals down from the thunderstorm, we first can see it, we can spot it as a funnel cloud. Once it starts to make its voyage towards the ground and touches the ground, that's when we could call it a confirmed tornado. So we're going to see if we can notice any debris that might be being picked up by this couplet there. Nothing too noticeable from this signature. Perhaps we could see some hail. We're definitely seeing some hail from that storm cell right there, but some smaller hail, some pea-sized hail from that thunderstorm, but definitely something that has garnered quite a bit of strength and something we'll be watching for closely. Now, this is a isolated area that is right now under a tornado warning, but certainly possible to see this make its way further towards the northeast as it continues its track, and certainly other couplets within that thunderstorm structure, this kind of complex of thunderstorms. Anytime we see this line of storms, it's what we call a mesoscale convective system, so just a line of thunderstorms that's barreling through an area. They could certainly start to gain their own intensity and their own issues as they encounter some shifting wind that would allow them to turn from the horizontal into the vertical. So we'll be watching these systems really closely. If I see anything pop up, I'm going to hop on my social media. So go ahead and find me there, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and I will keep you updated on that current tornado warning that we have there that's pushing towards just east of Tyler and making its way out of Texas. I will be watching for that on social media, like I mentioned, and then we've got our live newscast coming up 4, 5, 6, and 10 team coverage with David Paul and Tim Pandages. Otherwise, we'll catch you here on the web with the latest updates.